Welcome, everybody. I've got Kendall here from Kendall on the Horn to talk about Virtual Set 23. So I'm going to say on the front end, I don't know a lot about virtual cards or the meta and open. So I wanted to bring someone on who does. Kendall, you've been thinking about Star Wars CCG for a long time, the virtual sets. So we're going to go through all 50 some cards of Virtual Set 23, talk about where they fit in the meta, kind of like why did they make this card. But thanks for being on, man. Long time kind of friend, but someone I haven't actually done a video with. So it's exciting to do something. At the front end, do you want to tell people about your channel? So you have a YouTube channel, you have a podcast. Where can people find that stuff?
Yeah. Okay. So, so you can find everything at kendallcast.ninja.
I will have a link in the video description here for folks.
And then Kendallcast. I don't remember if it's Kendallcast or Kendallcast Network on YouTube. I'm logged into it. Let me see.
We will have links to all that stuff.
It is Okay, yeah. So it is Kendallcast Network on YouTube, and then if you're a podcast fan, you're on the podcatcher of your choice. You can find everything I do under Kendallcast, or if you don't want to hear about non-Star Wars CCG content, because I do a movie podcast and some other stuff, you can just search under Corincast. The two active shows that I have right now regarding Star Wars cards are Corin on the Horn, which is usually an interview show, but the format of that is kind of evolving, and Top 8 with Corin and Batmouse, which is a competitive collaboration game show type thing where we work with and against each other to create a top 8 best of list. So we just did top 8 Sith cards, and
cool.
It's a needlessly complicated game, but it is very fun to listen to, and you don't have to understand how we're playing. You don't have to understand the rules of the game to appreciate the way that we're playing it, and the way that we all frustrate each other and everyone's wrong. But we end up with really cool lists, because it's not necessarily the list that I would come up with, or the list that Batmouse would come up with, or the list that our guest would come up with. But if you look at it, it's at least as good or better than a list that would just be generated by one of us. And also, if I pick something and somebody else keeps it from ending up on the list, at least we talked about that card, and you can either agree or disagree with me on it. It's a fun little show. But yeah.
So, Set 23 though. So this is something I'm sure you guys have talked about a little bit in your show. This just came out a couple weeks back, 3 or 4 weeks ago. My first question to you is, can you name all 4 characters on this title page? I can name 3 of the 4. One, I'm like, what exactly is his or her name?
So that's Jen, Ahsoka.
Yes, exactly.
Is he a non-unique? Is he like associated with Shadow Collective? I don't recognize that guy. And then Zakus, of course, is my favorite bounty hunter. So this set has, I just realized, this set has a version of my 2 favorite characters from the expanded universe. Zakus, one of them being Zakus, the other one we will talk about, I'm sure.
Okay. So the way we're going to do this is I have all the cards here loaded in, and we're just going to kind of go through and talk about each card, where they kind of fit into the meta, why we think they kind of made this card. I'm kind of a noob here, so I'm going to butt in when I have something to say, but let's get started with the light side characters. So here are the first kind of batch of light side characters. So you have Ahsoka, a friend of the family, a Boosh, Virtual, and CB23. You want to talk about Ahsoka here first?
Yeah. So the big thing with Ahsoka is while your Skywalker epic event on table, Ahsoka ignores the deployment restrictions and does a bunch of stuff. But basically, she is a Jedi. Oh, and she's an alien. I didn't catch that. That's relevant. That can be relevant. Because she's gonna count as and she's a Togruta, so she's gonna count as a species for your ancient watering hole decks. But the big thing is that the Skywalker epic events limit which Jedi you can play. Usually it's like Yoda, Obi-Wan, and either Luke or I forget exactly how it is, but it's either you choose either Luke, Rey, or Anakin, and then depending on who you choose, it limits what other Jedi you can play. So yeah, so she lets you cheat basically.
So she seems pretty interested at 5'6". What about Boosh here? The original Boosh felt kind of unplayable-ish to me. I'm reading the text here. Is this one make her a little bit better? I see Jabba's palace icon on there as well, which is interesting.
We will see. Oh yeah, she has the Jabba's palace icon. So probably there's. I want to say that there's just seeking an audience pulls her. I'm not sure. But there's probably a card that previously would have only targeted Princess Leia Organa that targets her. I mean, this is obviously a helper for profit decks. I don't know. You know, it'll be a matter of like whether we see whether it ends up being good enough to be worth playing over Leia Rebel Princess or whatever. I assume Leia Rebel Princess is probably the go-to for profit right now.
I think so. I mean, she's very good. And I mean, your characters are immune to Imperial Barrier. That's like pretty good-ish, but like nothing on there like makes me think like this is an auto include over Rebel Princess.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean she basically auto flips because she pulls someone who loves you. So yeah, if you can pull because you can pull her and she auto flips profit. I could see her seeing play in profit, but it's just a matter of whether that's whether people are playing profit and whether that's what they want to do.
All right, CB23. Droids are just never really my thing. So during player, each player with two other participating, what is this character? Something characters may add one ballast to attrition. Seems just okay.
Yeah, so helps with episode 7 characters and counts as a resistance agent if you're playing against map, which I don't know. We'll see. I haven't seen a lot of map, so
one fun note on there is in the lore box. It says it's a female. I didn't know droids had genders, but I'm very all about it. But it's good to know there's a female droid.
Yeah.
All right, moving along.
Also, relevant. This is very important. With Kazuda, Poe or Rey gains resistance agent. Kazuda, I believe, is the character from the Resistance cartoon show. Which. I believe that's a broken link. I don't think we have a Kazuda card.
Okay, so perhaps a future card they're coming.
if once they've covered literally every other piece of Star Wars content in all of existence, then they can start doing stuff from that show.
Before we get into these next 3 characters, I just want to give a shout out. These images, obviously, Cor Horn's a slip, but these other 2 phenomenal pictures, like well done on the cosplay or whatever, a CGI combination of the both. Like these are great images. But let's start with Cor Horn. This must have a special place in your heart. But I had no idea he became a Jedi. I guess I need to read more Star Wars, but like I did not know this about him. So he adds maneuver to maneuver anything he pilots, which seems fine. And once per game, you can deploy a blaster on him from hand or reserve deck during battle. Makes track 1 from just okay. So I don't know. I don't even know if he's better than the normal one. What am I missing?
Well, the first thing you're missing is who the original concept is by.
Okay. Oh, you.
Yes, I designed this card. Cor Horn is my favorite character in Expanded Universe. Yes, he does become a Jedi in the book I, Jedi, the only adult novel in Legends continuity to be written in the first person.
Okay.
Yeah, that is a picture of Michael A. Stackpole. So this was Joe Olson gifted me a main character virtual card design. I think it was right after they had the Watch Your Step helper card that lets you play Cor Horn and have him count as a smuggler. So he was like, make a Watch Your Step helper. So one thing that Cor Horn does in I, Jedi is he does this little trick where somebody shoots him with a blaster He sticks out his hand, he absorbs the blaster bolt, and then he uses the Force to steal their blaster, sort of like what Darth Vader does in Empire Strikes Back. It is the only time that Cor Horn can use telekinesis, because he just his his strengths and weaknesses in the Force. That's something that he just can't do. So that's what I wanted to have him be able to do.
Okay, so blaster stuff.
Yep, once per game. Yeah, he can get a blaster, and also he can subtract one from the just drawn blaster weapon destiny draw. So it's sort of it went through a lot of different iterations to be able to make it not overly powerful and everything. Also, he can pull. So since he can pull a blaster, he can get the uncivilized blaster, which is a matching weapon for him. The add one to maneuver is a reference to the original card, because the original card added to maneuver. And yeah, then he gets stronger when he subtracts one from the blaster weapon destiny. And lastly, he is a Jedi that you can play sort of like how Ahsoka let you break the rules. There are several decks, like Hitco most notably, that cannot play Episode 1 Jedi. So he's just another Jedi that you can play in those Rebel decks. He's also a Rebel, so Jedi Presence. He counts as a Jedi, and he also counts as a Rebel with Jedi Presence. So if he's with another Jedi, you can play two Jedi Presences and make lots and lots of power. I'm sure that's something that comes up in retro gaming.
Cool. All right. So moving on to Jyn Erso, which this looks identical to the actress, or very, very close. So she's a 3/4, 4/5 to deploys, forfeit. While Stardust on your spy, Jyn adds 1 battle destiny. While Stardust on Jyn and present at battleground, force rating +1, and non-trooper rebel spies who may not be choked if lost, opponent loses 1 force. So where does she kind of fit into stuff here?
So Stardust is referencing the no idea, which is they have no idea we're coming. It is not like I thought when I first started playing, and you get on GEMP and it says the deck type is no idea. I thought that meant that the GEMP interface didn't know what deck they were playing. But no, when people say no idea, they mean the objective. They have no idea they're coming. Stardust is the effect that you use to do ping damage. So you stick Stardust on her. She adds a battle destiny and adds to force drain. Seems pretty good. The previous version of Jyn deployed as an undercover spy and didn't really have specific like text that specifically applied to the no idea objective. So that's pretty cool. Okay. And then we've got Sabine, who
Padawan learner, 4/4. Yeah. If she just deployed or won a battle, may choose an artwork. That's like a Thrawn artwork thing. Mm-hmm. I remember that the last set. And once per turn, just hit character. If she hit a character, opponent loses 2 force. That's pretty nice. And looks like add some Phoenix Squadron kind of synergies. While with Ahsoka or Ezra, your total battle destiny is +1. So she seems like a pretty versatile character.
Yeah, yeah. She's just a stat stick. Like she has bigger numbers than the other version. You can still play her in 0 hour without any trouble. She's got a little bit of Thrawn hate on there, and I hate that Thrawn deck. She just feels really good to play. I've been playing her in 0 hour. That token immunity, being immune to permanent weapons. Somebody pointed out that so the real reason she's immune to permanent weapons is because Ahsoka is immune to permanent weapons. So, and she's the Padawan. Also, if you watch the Ahsoka show, the other version of Ahsoka, not the friend.
Oh, okay. I was just
also, if you watch the Ahsoka show, Sabine does get stabbed by a lightsaber, and basically shrugs it off. So
yeah, that was pretty wild. I was like, okay. Plot armor is strong with this one.
That's okay. I'm okay with that. But
all right, we're moving to some effects here. So there's only 6 characters. Effects: Eyes in the Dark, Jabba's Last Chance, Pastor to Alderaan. Are any of these kind of notable or like, really interesting cards here?
Let's see. So Eyes in the Dark is hate for Lam. We'll just see. It has a little bit of that of a sub theme that's hate on non-battlegrounds. Jabba's
So
Last Chance is another
profit tool.
profit helper.
Interesting.
So we'll just see we'll kind of see where that goes. A lot of times with these helper cards, especially with the effects, people smarter than you or I figure out whether they're worth playing or not, and then we just kind of see. So keep an eye out for that, like at Continentals this weekend. Stolen data tapes is the effect for diplomatic mission to Alderaan, and it lets you basically it lets you get the Falcon out, so that you can get it, so that you can fly the stolen data tapes. A lot of people will play the Millennium Falcon to get the stolen data tapes to Alderaan, as opposed to taking two, because it takes 2 turns to get the Tantive to Alderaan. You want to get the stolen data tapes to Alderaan and Diplo to flip and do all the shenanigans.
Cool. And great image. I like the passage to Alderaan image. Moving on to interrupts. We got a few interrupts here. Life Day. I love this sort of. The image isn't great, but I like the theme here. Maybe.
I'm always happy to see references to the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, it looks like it's a helper for Ewoks and Wookiees. Probably more of a Fun Fred card, unless somebody figures out what to do with it. Choke.
Cancels none shall pass. That's an annoying card. Or battle just initiated at first flight or Jabba's palace, so cancel again. So it seems okay. Maybe if you're doing this actually might be another, frankly, like a profit helper.
It definitely. So this is the kind of card that is really hard to judge, because it does 3 pretty different things, or at least 3. Because it might be worth it if your just for that text, if your character ability equals 5 on table, upload an interrupt with printed destiny equals 4. Because ever since Thrawn with its artwork stuff, and you want to be careful about your Destiny 4 interrupts, has come out, I learned that all the good interrupts in the game are Destiny 4. So so like theoretically that might be good. Also I think the battle initiated at a first light or Jabba's palace site is more hate for Scum and Shadow Collective decks than. Yeah, I think this is more of a meta card to deal with Scum and Shadow Collective decks than specifically a profit helper, I think. So it'll be one to keep an eye out for, but I don't think it's gonna like make or break anything. A Jedi's Focus, the most relevant thing is that young Skywalker pulls this card. The Destiny 6 Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight kind of budget version, which we'll see the Emperor one later in the dark side. Does it do anything though?
I'm not quite sure.
You can exclude him and another character from battle. That's pretty good, especially if you're, again, in a situation where you're pulling this card. So like you could either cancel the battle if Luke is alone, or you could, or if you're both kind of have a stack of guys, you might be able to use it to like exclude their Dr. Evazan and Ponda Baba or something like that. But I don't know. I've definitely read all these cards, but I haven't memorized them all.
No, I'm coming to this with an open mind. So we have Out of Commission, Rebel Assault, Scomplink Access as interrupts here. Rebel Assault seems to be something for like battling in space, maybe.
Okay, so Rebel Assault is maybe my favorite card from the set. It is. So my favorite, like the little sub theme in the set that's a very like mechanical bottom up sub theme, is we want to reward people for playing lots of battlegrounds, and we want to punish people for not playing battlegrounds. And so this is a Destiny 7 card if you play a deck that plays 4 battlegrounds, like 0 Hour is definitely going to play 4 battlegrounds. You basically have to be at 4 battlegrounds to flip. So you get those out like really fast, and then it's a Destiny 7 card floating around. And then it recycles itself, and it's not just a used recycled card. It goes into your force pile. So like that messes with your count. Like your opponent might be like, okay, well they can only, they've got this many force. They probably can only deploy 1 character, or they've got 6 force. So they probably can only deploy 1 character, and it won't be a Jedi because they won't be able to battle, or something like that. Like if they're doing that math, and then you play this, and it adds 1 to your, you have 1 more force to work with. It's a really neat ability that messes with some of that stuff. Unfortunately, every time I played this card, it has gotten grabbed. So, which is only like 2 or 3 times, but I do play 3 copies of it in my 0 Hour deck. At least for now. It might go down if people keep grabbing it, if I can't figure out, like, that's not a deck that has like an obvious grab card. So
Out of Commission seems they've got a little bit of Thrawn artwork hate here.
Yeah, which is always good. I hate that Thrawn deck.
A little bit of moving around Obi-Wan Kenobi, and for remainder of turn, forfeit may not be increased. Okay.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing on there is the artwork card, and then the other stuff. Like it's just hard. It's hard to judge these that have multiple abilities. Like what's the obvious thing?
I guess the middle part's like for Dr. Evian as Zion, like doesn't allow your hit characters to be murdered, right?
Okay. That's opponent may not target your hit characters to be lost. So that covers Dr. Evazan, and it covers Sniper. So this could go in depending on your deck. You might play this over First Aid combo. I don't know that you would, but you could.
So kind of versatile, does 3 things, and then looking at Scompling.
But you have to proactively play this. So yeah, you're right. You probably would only play it with Dr. Evazan. Oh, and this is the Beat Boop card.
I don't know. Tell me about the Beat Boop card.
So this one I think they had to change the wording on, but it basically lets you stack an extra card on your grabber. Initially, it had been worded so that you could stack a card on your opponent's grabber, and we didn't want to do that. But yeah, it says Beep Boop. Once per game, you can lose your droid at a scom point to cancel a battle.
I like that they're kind of having fun with these cards a little bit. They're like interesting. All right, moving it along. You're gonna do Dark Side still. We have transmission terminated. So target a starship for remainder of turn. Target may not use tractor beam, fire weapons, or cloak. Okay. Cancel hologram or cancel the game text of Emperor's Power or an Admiral's Order until the start of your turn. So it feels like canceling Admiral's Order might be the bigger piece there.
I mean, Emperor's Power is relevant and canceling a hologram so you can cancel like Phantom Menace. Yeah, I mean, this is a meta card. If something and also like cloaking. There's a new Sith Infiltrator that has a cloak ability. So yeah, it'll just be if you want to do one of these things, then you can do it. I don't think Darkside plays enough relevant Admiral's Orders to make playing a Lost Interrupt worth it on its own, but it's got all these other lines of text on it. It's just hard to know. It'll just depend on stuff. Then we've got Docking Bay Control Room, which is designed obviously to get your Rescue the Princess 3PO out. Rescue the Princess will play this card.
All right, got 2 more sites here. So maybe this might be doing something for Echobase operations and Tatooine Hut trade route. That's a great image, actually.
Yeah, Yeah, defensive perimeter is gonna go. Yeah. I mean, there's a new speeders objective. It's probably relevant in that because you are playing Hoth characters and Hoth vehicles. But yeah, I don't see anything. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't play it as in an EBO as well. If does EBO play the third marker? I don't know.
Sometimes you need to get a bunch of markers. Anyways, I haven't played EVO in a while, but
EBO because EBO plays all the echo sites. But it only plays. I think it only plays the fourth marker usually. But
yeah.
I'm not 100%. And then Hut Trade Route helps with. It helps with. I mean, it's going to be an Agents of the Court helper, reducing the alien deploy cost. So between that and the new Ahsoka, we've got a couple of cards relevant.
I'm trying to breathe some light into old metas. We have Quantum Storm and a Porg. Creatures, I just wish I'd gotten rid of creatures altogether. I don't really. It's like it's another cognitive load thing to keep in mind, but Quantum Storm appears to be this medium transport over it. Maybe a little more Hoth help here.
Yeah, I think that the cannon, the ion cannon, the Planet Defender ion cannon, I think you play it or you can get it out easily in the Hoth the objective. So this is probably relevant to that. Again, it's like I don't know, with some of these helpers, it's hard for me to judge if I don't know the deck super well. Porg I like. He doesn't attack, so you don't have to worry about knowing how creatures work. You can play him on a starship or on the ground.
And he adds 1 Force icon, so he pays himself off in 2 turns.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Or you could think of it as he's a Destiny 5 1-0 site. Which I don't know whether that's worth it or not. But it's the thing. If you're playing Octu sites, he does reduce. Or wait. Starship Porg is aboard, or characters present with Porg are power and defense value -1, +2 if yours. So
it's kind of okay. I mean,
so does he make all of your characters power and defense value +2?
No. But if he's aboard a starship. I mean, I guess characters' defense value in space, though, right? What does that matter? You're not targeting the characters.
It's on a starship card. Okay.
Oh,
but it does add 2. So it adds 2 to the power of the starship. Then that's pretty good.
Yeah. So, anyways, we'll see if
it can't just so it can't go to mobile sites. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. I don't know. I wish to play. I'm glad. I'm really happy to see a creature. I would love to. So Gar Koresh, biggest thing is that he makes it so opponent can't cancel your battle destiny draws if he's with a non-maintenance bounty hunter. So the maintenance bounty hunter in question is Boba Fett bounty hunter. If he's with Greedo and Boba Fett bounty hunter, then he still protects the destiny draws. It's just if he's only with Boba Fett bounty hunter and Darth Vader or something like that. So that's an interesting little wrinkle. I've been floating him in my court deck, and he hasn't really done a lot. Because canceling battle destiny draws isn't nearly as common as limiting battle destiny draws, but we have a plan cancels destiny draws, and that's been everywhere and impossible for court to beat. So it might come up as relevant.
I mean, obviously I don't know virtual cards super well, but I don't know how many mercenaries there are. Like, it seems like that's like a new keyword that's been added, more recently. It's like mercenaries, not gamblers.
The mercenary pilot.
Oh, mercenary. That's right, I guess.
That's actually a good question. Are there mercenaries? I'm trying to think if there's an important one. Let's see.
Yeah, I forgot about mercenary pilot, but he's not like that great. While you do that, I'm going to read the text for
Okay.
1975, 1945. So this is a funny scene in The Mandalorian, right, where they're like target practicing, I think. So pilot 2 once per game may upload, download Gideon while piloting a speeder. Grogu's forfeit -2 here, and opponent's weapon destinies targeting your speeder bikes are -1. So seems fine maybe for a trooper deck. But I don't know enough about Gideon, how good Moff Gideon is.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of knowledge on trooper decks. So Lin May is a mercenary. Mayo is a mercenary, which makes sense because he's also an Abyssin. And then Fennec Shand, I think, is probably the most relevant.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And there are a couple others, but yeah, not that bit of text I would say not super relevant on him. And then I mean, being able to upload Gideon is good. The decks that you play Gideon in, he's a pretty important character.
It's just a little engine of helping get him out.
Yeah.
What about Lobot here? I didn't expect to see a Lobot character. Like, so is this like a Han freezing thing?
So it's gonna be
so immune to Clash of Sabers. It's like pretty good. May not be targeted or lost. Helps your characters move, I think. May use one force to relocate to a related site.
Yeah, being immune to Clash seems really good. But I don't think he's so the carbon chamber testing doesn't hang out on Cloud City very much. The deck, and there's a little bit of a sub theme in this deck. Is this deal is getting worse all the time. There's a new virtual dark deal that I would say he's probably part of that little pod there. It's real hard for me to judge on some of these. I mean, I feel like we have aliens that can do more. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. Wait, so that was Moff Gideon?
I was just thinking the same thing. I was about to say the same thing. So we got a leader, a 4/4, armor 5, pilot 3. If you just deploy Darksaber here, may take 1 card from use pile. It's pretty okay. Reshuffle munition battles for free. Your total battle destiny here is +1. Immune to attrition less than 3. So
I think people are still playing the other Gideon.
Yeah, this seems fine. TD110. This is a card I actually previewed. This is for I forget what the objective is. The Tatooine control objective.
Imperial Entanglements.
Pretty good little tech card there for that deck, I think. Kind of troopers, but I don't know. I don't think good outside of that specific deck. And then Wu Hair, who's the grumpy Cantina guy. While in Cantina, each player may fire 1 weapon during battle, and while job on table, opponent generates no force here. That's kind of good. Once per game, may upload Restraining Bolt. I've never run Restraining Bolt before.
Well, Restraining Bolt is good because it cancels the game text of 3PO with his parts showing, and it's a Destiny 6 card. So that's pretty good. There was a card that pulled the Cantina, and then either the Cantina the virtual Cantina pulls Wooer or something like that. Like there's sort of a clump of cards. I think that he was in the previews. I may be mistaken, but I haven't seen him see play a lot. But there is like a either for court or for my kind of scum, a deck that does mess around with the Cantina a little bit. So that might be, if not something now, it might be something that somebody will figure out in the future.
Yeah, Cantina is a popular site. Finishing out our characters and a couple other random things, we have Zakus looking pretty awesome. Zakus with snare rifle, 2/4, 4 to deploy, 4 forfeit, 2 pilot. Once per game, may peek at the top card of reserve deck. That's pretty good. Permanent weapon is Zakus' snare rifle, can target for free. He's excluded from battle if destiny is greater than 1 plus target's power.
This guy is so good. He is like, yeah. So first of all, if you're going to design a Zakus, he has to be able to compete with Zakus and Mist Hunter, which just wins games.
Right.
Being able to exclude a character from battle with a permanent weapon is just huge, and it also gets around defense value because it looks at the target's total power. So often, a lot of times, you'll have cards that protect. Especially if you're talking about like lower power characters, you'll have cards that will inflate their defense value to the point that they're protected from most weapons, and then you hit them. And especially in a deck that's playing those kinds of cards, oftentimes they'll be one person doesn't draw battle destiny on their own, so you can target somebody and you can it fosters a lot of blowouts. It's also an ability for bounty hunter, so you have Jabba's through with you will add a battle destiny when you fire. Forlom with concussion rifle adds a battle destiny with Zakus. He's great. He's like, I would say my top cards in court are Mara, Aura, Boba Fett, and Zakus with snare rifle.
Yeah, he seems very good. I mean, any kind of like EPP, I think, is something to like almost an auto include in many decks. Versatile. Moving to Electro Rangefinder, this is obviously Hoth tech card trying to help get out target the main generator. I don't really know how much play that objective or epic event kind of sees now, but
so it's virtualized. There is a virtualized thing.
Destiny 6 is good.
Yeah, and there is a virtual walkers objective that came out with the virtual speeders objective in like 22 or 21, and nobody has been playing that deck. But this seems to be a good helper. I know there were a couple people when this card was spoiled that either thought it was very powerful or were very excited by it.
I usually trust the opinions of people who know more about this game than I do. Like,
I just don't. I don't play walkers as basically when it comes to bad guys. I like the chaotic evil bad guys, the lawful evil bad guys. Like, I'm not usually as so. I like the Sith, and I like the criminals. I'm not as big a fan of like the First Order or the
fascist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like you're like, I don't really want to play as a Nazi.
Yeah,
even if it's a veiled Nazi that has a cool looking ship, like First Order or Imperials, I kind of stay away from, because even the Confederacy is like, they're like uber capitalists, so they're not like fascists so much, they're more I think they're like libertarians.
They just want to make money and trade. Right. I like the anyways. I have a love of the Nemoidians. Dark Deal: if you control 2 Cloud City sites and opponent controls none, deploy on Bespin system at related sites where you have an alien and Imperial pair. You may your force rated +1. If you just want to battle, you may take any card into use pile. Seems like an okay card to include in sort of if you're going to be like going back to the other Cloud City tech cards, have aliens and Imperials together. Time will tell how it is. But.
Yeah, so this is definitely going to be a build around for this deal is getting worse all the time, because that it's very important that this card exists, because I don't like saying this deal is getting worse all the time. I like saying Dark Deal, but for the last 15 years, no one has played Dark Deal in a Dark Deal deck. So I like that this card exists, and hopefully it sees some play. I do think that that objective is kind of neat. Yeah.
All right, we got a few more effects here. Echobase Destroy, Ominous Rumors. Your eyes can deceive you. So I've been waiting for a better version or more playable version of Ominous Rumors. I think this might breathe a little bit of life into Imperial operations, which is otherwise I mean, this card in the non-virtual version is impossible to get out. So it looks like it's a little bit easier. Deploying bunker may immediately take 1 Endor or Destor 2 card into hand from force pile. That's pretty good. While an Imperial Leader here, your first force generation is +1. If opponent controls a bunker, place affecting use pile. So a little easier to get out there. Echobase Destroy. What do you think about Echobase Destroy? Another tech card for sort of Hoth, target the main generators. I'm kind of intrigued by looking at these cards. I'm like, maybe I'll go build a deck around this and see what the new virtual objective is. It's kind of fun to see new life being kind of added in here.
So the big thing with Echobase Destroyed is once per turn, if first marker blown away, may take a Hoth card into hand from force pile reshuffle. Taking a card into hand from force pile is very powerful.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a helper for that objective. It'll just be a matter of whether it's good enough. We'll see. I will say regarding ominous rumors, not specifically this card, but something must have happened with set 23 or some other cards that I got my butt kicked by an Endor Ops deck the other day, and I had no idea what I was doing. So he had he had spread his guys at like 5 different sites, and he had something that made it so that they immediately got barriered when I played characters like without playing barrier. And I had no idea I just had no idea how to even approach the matchup because it's not been a popular deck, and then it kicked my butt. Your Eyes Can Deceive You is just the dark side mirror of the light side card. It's an anti 3PO with his parts showing card. Yeah, which we'll see. I'm floating it in my court deck right now, but I haven't gotten to use it yet.
All right, a few interrupts here. Imperial Assault, not within sight or reach. Physical Choke. Mm-hmm. So it looks like each of these, it's interesting because the way they're doing interrupts now is they do like 3 things each sometimes. So Imperial Assault is basically the dark side version of the Battleground one, the Rebel Assault.
Of Rebel Assault, yeah.
So yeah, pretty good, I think. Not within reach or not within sight or reach. Looks like maybe a little Thrawn used. You can grab Thrawn or Vanto. I'm not sure what Vanto is, to be honest. During battle, players may not draw power or attrition destinies. That seems pretty good as well.
So, yeah, and the big thing about this is if you're playing against Hidden Base, you can play a Dreadnought from outside your deck, which is pretty cool. One of the first, not the first, because you can deploy a Dewback from outside your deck, and there's a couple other cards. The Falcon can sometimes come from outside your deck, but yeah. So now when you're building no matter whether you're going to play this card or not, make sure you stick a Dreadnought into your shields, just in case you need that.
All right, we got Physical Choke here. So use, deactivate. I see you can deactivate the hyperdrive or Admiral's orders during battle. Invaders present with opponent's character ability less than 4 adds 1 battle destiny. If any rebel troopers, choose one to be choked. Okay, this seems pretty good.
Yeah. And I believe it's pulled by Vader Virtual. This was spoiled. We spoiled it on top 8, and Chris Kelly said that it's basically, what it is in the picture. I do want to note that Imperial Assault, it's the mirror of the light side. I think the light side one fits a little better for me because, first of all, I feel like Dark Side has more options for Destiny 6 and 7 cards. They can play a bunch of Emperors or a bunch of Phantom Menaces. And they tend to already be drawing super high destinies in their, drop and drain, play a bunch of battleground decks. I think Rebel Assault is going to see a little bit more play because of that. And yeah, not with Insider Reach. It'll just is a sort of, I don't know if you play it. I don't know if you play it if you're not worried about that that lost function. I feel like there's better ways to get Thrawn out. The new Vanto in Dreadnought, you can pull with that, so that might be relevant.
All right, we got a few more interrupts here. Probe telemetry, rite of passage, the Emperor's Hand. Love seeing more Mara Jade stuff. So probe telemetry, if systems will slip through your fingers on table, may reveal from hand and place face down under system to probe there. Upload a probe droid or cancels alteration. I don't know enough about the meta. This seems like it's doing something.
It's mainly it's mainly so the hate on liberating a system is for Y4 ops. They have to draw a destiny to liberate a system, and then stuff happens. It's on 2 cards. And then the probe, obviously probing a system is more hidden base hate. And then rite of passage, another outside your deck card. You can deploy a lift tube from outside your deck, which is kind of neat. Cancels. Probably, I would say you probably play it in the new Dark Deal deck, because lift tube you kind of use to move around your mobile sites.
And then the Emperor's Hand, you can upload Mara Jade, which is great to be able to find her. Or if battle just ended where your premium Mara 1 opponent loses 1 force. So seems pretty good. I mean, Destiny 4, if you're playing with Mara Jade, it seems like it's a card to include.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a card to encourage using the original version of Mara Jade. And then, yeah, so you can only upload the original version of Mara Jade. Premium Mara does count Mara with lightsaber, so you can make the opponent lose 1 force even if it's and do the relocation text even if you're using Mara with lightsaber. And then also retrieving Mara Jade's lightsaber is pretty good because you like to be able to recur lightsabers.
Generally great image. All right, we got 2 more effects here, and then I think we're wrapping up here. So we have the Emperor's Back and Young Fool. So Emperor's Back, you can download Emperor's New Order or overseeing it personally. Lost once per game, choose place an opponent's just played interrupt out of play, or if Shizor or 2 Imperial leaders in battle, recirculate. Interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. Can be pulled by Palpatine Galactic Emperor. Closing the loop on that. Although I was playing Emperor's Back non-virtual in my Bring 'Em Before Me deck. I think the recirculate is pretty good. Emperor's New Order and overseeing it personally are both effects that I don't know what they do.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Me neither. Young Fool. So if you have 2 battlegrounds on the table, an opponent does not activate up to 2 force. That's kind of nice. And then Lost, cancel Disarmed or Jedi Presence, or during your turn, if Sidious is in battle and no other Dark Jedi participating, add 1 battle destiny to power only. So
yeah. So I'm floating this in my court deck right now because it's a Destiny 6 card. I haven't been able to activate 2 force with it, but someday. People are definitely playing decks without battlegrounds still, but we'll kind of see if people abuse that. I really like that sub theme in the deck, and canceling Disarmed is good.
All right, we're wrapping up here. We got Bespin, Dark Side Bespin. So if you occupy Dark Deals on the table, flip. This deal's getting worse all the time, so easier flip there, right? Seems like a decent sight. And then we have the new Ellie, Vanto, and Dreadnought. Power 5, Armor 6, deploy 4, so not too expensive. Permanent pilot is Vanto, provides ability 3, immune to attrition less than 4, less than 6 if Thrawn's on the table. Seems like just like a pretty good chip here. And then,
the token immunity is good. It'll just have to figure out where its home is. Same thing with Maul in Scimitar. Maul and Scimitar notably not an independent ship, so you can't pull it with court. And
And you get that cloaking thing. Okay.
Yeah, the cloaking, which cloaking does something completely different than Maul's Sith Infiltrator does for cloaking. But they call it cloaking too, so all the hate cards still work on it. Yeah, it's just a matter of, I think both of these ships, it's like they feel like there should be token space packages in decks. But we'll just see what decks they end up showing up in. I like Maul and Scimitar. I like the only the problem with Maul and Scimitar is the Maul's good.
Yeah,
I don't know if
got
you knew
Maul's
that, but
stuff.
like that's a very valuable persona. So maybe there's a deck that can't play. Oh, maybe you play it in like Vader Revenge of the Sith or whatever that objective is, that so you can't play. Maybe play it in a deck where you can't play Maul. Or no, well, not where you can't play Maul, obviously, but like when you can't, if you can't play episode 1 Sith characters or something like that, I think this would get around that. Depending on the wording. But
yeah. We'll have to see where all this stuff shakes out. So that's all the cards. So we went through them all. I think there's some, it's fun.
Glad we kept it under 30 minutes.
Yeah, definitely did a good job keeping it under 30 minutes, which is what our goal was. But if you've made it this long, check out Kendall's channel, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Keep supporting folks that are making videos and putting out content on your favorite games. But that's all the time we have. Kendall, thanks for hanging out, man. Thanks for going through this stuff. This has been really illuminating on this meta and new set. And I think
if I got anything wrong, don't tell me. If you're watching this and you know more things than me, don't correct me on anything. I just want to. I'm at exactly 500 in the OCS today right now. So like I have won half my games. So I'm not like an expert. These were just like kind of first impressions. I just want to emphasize that. Sometimes I appreciate feedback. Right now is not one of those times. I don't need a million. If I did stuff wrong. Now, if I did stuff right, I'll take that feedback. That's fine.
Okay.
But otherwise, don't at me.
Well, thanks for being on here. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And we'll be back with more videos down the road. So see you around.